today, and why are you here?
My name is Walter Hilligass. You won't tell by the way I'm dressed, but I'm actually a journeyman plumber, Plumbers Local Union number 1. And I'm also a 9/11 first responder. I was here the first week the towers came down from September 12th to September 16, 2001. Unfortunately, because of my actions as a volunteer, I developed autoimmune disease in the lungs. And because of that, I now take a myriad of medications. I'm here out in this weather risking my health, but because of these protests, I actually believe that there can be some change. So I'm putting my health at risk by being out here because I've heard the call of my country again, like I did on 9/11. I feel that this system is broken. It's like an egg. I compare it to an egg. When you crack the egg open, the yolk just comes out. It's been dripping out and oozing out, and it won't stop oozing out. And there's unfortunately, at least we thought, there's nothing we can do about it. It's recently people took up the cause and said, hey, you know what? Maybe that's not enough. Maybe it's time to do something. Finally, it's time to say, hey, you know what? I'm tired of paying the ass for rents. I'm tired of paying these ridiculous fare raises. I'm tired of paying the high taxes, the high gas prices. I'm tired of racial and sexual inequality, racial inequality. I'm tired of, being ticketed for everything I do when you walk around. These people simply have had enough. And if anybody learned from what's happening overseas, in Rome, for example, in other European countries, when people get pissed off enough, the people will eventually take up arms and physically go out there and do something about it. And I'm very surprised Americans have been this passive so far for all this time.
What do you think is keeping them at bay?
Well, Americans are meant to be stupid. They got Jersey Shore and Maury Povich, and Steve Wilkos, these Brides of Orange County, anything and everything to keep Americans dumb, like phones, for example, text messaging shit, and game councils, and all this stuff basically to keep Americans looking down.
Would you say it's the modern equivalent of 40 days of games?
More or less. The thing is, Americans are made to be fucking stupid. We are all made to be dumb. That's all. Then they underestimate people like myself who shut the phone off, unplug the game system, turn off the TV, take a look around and say, hey, you know what? Something's very wrong here. Something sucks like this. Now it's been 10 years since these towers came down behind us here, and it only takes 10 years to figure out something's wrong. What the fuck is wrong with us? It took people a matter of days across the seas and all around the world for people to figure out something's wrong. So it's something wrong with us.
What do you have to say to the people, because there are a few of them, that say this is kind of Johnny-come-lately, because where were the protests during the deregulation of the banks that allowed the corporate American rat race to really take over?
Yeah,
the reason you're here today, there was a very quiet time when all that was going. Why wasn't there more uproar now?
Well,
it's after the fact now.
It's like when you go on the subways, for example. Every time you go on the subway, it's like, if you see something, say something, look over your shoulder, be careful, watch out for this shadow, somebody's coming to get you. Everybody here's made to be fucking afraid. Even people working right now are afraid of their bosses. People are afraid to walk down a fucking street. People are afraid to, eat certain foods. Everybody's afraid of everything now. It's enough. No more fear. That's been my motto since day when I've been no more fear.
The reason there was no staging like this during the deregulation period was out of fear?
It's all fear. Everybody's been made to be afraid of something, man. And nowadays, Americans are afraid of their shadow. They're afraid to talk out loud. They're afraid to say fuck out loud. Enough is enough. Period.
And there's a myriad of protests going on, many different causes here. What would your chief one be, and what do you think is the way to start fixing the numerous problems that everyone's creating awareness of?
That's the thing now. That's why people like me kind of float around the outside of this thing. A lot of people do have a lot of grievances. There's really not one grievance you can nail, because I mentioned that people are losing their homes, they're losing their jobs, they can't afford health care. They have to choose between paying the rent and putting food on the table. They can't afford good schools for their kids anymore or for themselves. They can't afford the gas prices. So there's all these mixed messages going on in there because there's a lot of issues right now. But the simple, singular message that must, emerge from this particular protest, especially in the middle of New York City, this is the center of the world, basically. We, the people, have had enough. And we, the people, are taking back what you've stolen and ripped and raped from us. We're coming to get it back, whether you like it or not. We're coming back for what's ours.
And how do you think what's the best method in which to get it back? Short of creating the awareness, because now awareness has been created. What is step 2?
It's to get people on the outside of that fence to come in here. It's not so much just getting ordinary people. We need Indians here.
How do we get the powers that be, so to speak, that actually will make the laws to allow the changes? How do we put pressure on them? Because we could all be living on Wall Street and having nothing done. To get change, we have to actually make the people make the change.
Very simple answer, folks. If you learn anything from 8 years of war and tyranny from President George, a.k.a. Bush's, rule here that he had after 9/11, we take it back in the voting booths. Go and vote. If you guys vote Republican, then obviously there's no curve. There's no learning curve. Then it's your fault that things continue the way they are. Essentially, go into the voting booths and vote for the right people this time.
How do you feel to be likened to the Tea Party? Because that's been something that's been happening now.
Yeah,
this movement's been equated to a liberals' version of the Tea Party.
Well, you have an extreme left-wing presence that's here. I myself, I'm floating around on the outskirts of that, because I try to maintain a balance between all. I'm not one of those Americans that just takes things the way they are. I like to maintain balance. I like to hear everything that I can from all different angles and then base my opinion on what I've learned and what I've read and seen, basically. But you do have a lot of extremists with just about anything and everything. So, in my case, I guess I could say I'm more like an observer than anything.
Okay.
So,
what's the mask for? I've seen that mask.
Well,
walking around a little bit.
Well, I am wearing this on occasion.
Okay.
Because now I'm speaking as a first responder. But this mask represents the group Anonymous, which I am proud to say a member of.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about Anonymous, that they're all cyber hackers and cyber terrorists. Most Anons that have the capability to do what they do on the internet, that's fine. Some do it. That's their choice. Others do like what I do. We come out here when we go onto the IRC chats and we see videos of a particular idea, and we come out and we support that idea. I myself am here physically supporting the idea of Occupation Wall Street, or Occupy the World, or whatever it is, because I'm one of those people that's tired. So the Anon and the first responder coincide and coexist with each other. And they both share the same message. They both identify that the system sucks. And it's broken and it's got to change.
Any links or resources that you would like to create more awareness
Just go
of?
on the internet anywhere. Just key in Anon and you'll find us all over. It's not just one of us. We're worldwide, man.
Any other information groups for any of the specific causes that you've been outlining?
Myself, as far as the first responders concerned, I am a member of Tuesday's Children, First Responders Alliance. And thanks to John Field, who I'm not sure most people know him, I asked you to research him. A very fine human being. He donated his kidney to another first responder who was able to donate money to myself to help me pay my rent last month. So, I'm involved that way. I go to a lot of Tuesday's Children events. I was on Citi Field on 9/11. As a matter of fact, carrying a big flag on my shoulder. And it's a disappointment that there's only 3 or 4 of us hard hats on Citi Field when there's thousands of firefighters there and there's 3 or 4 of us on the field. They need to hear that, unfortunately.
And what do you think of the main or lamestream media's coverage of the occupation movement?
Well, yeah, see, that's another subject where I can only say this: you're going to get propaganda on both sides. So you're better off being here and seeing it up close, judge it for yourself. If you rely on the media on either end, either on my end or I'll say on our end or on that side of the fence, you're going to get 2 different ideas. So you're better off coming here yourself and seeing it for yourself before you place any judgments. That's why I'm here. I don't judge. I got to see and watch and listen and feel for myself.
Awesome. All right, man. Thank you very much.